How to get a college football scholarship. This is a series where we evaluate active high school football players, break down their game film, and then at the end, let you know what level they have the best chance of earning a scholarship in, and then most importantly, what they need to do to get to the next level. And joining me today to break down this game film is our head coach here at Next Play, Brian Overton, who has over 15 years of Division I recruiting experience. So Brian, who do we have here? Excited to jump into this evaluation.
Yeah, so we got a 2027 outside linebacker edge. Damon's about 6'1", 215 pounds. I had him like 6'6", 210, so he's got 215 on there, so I could absolutely see that. That's close enough. So he plays edge for his team, as you can see it run here.
What was that
I'll
last
back it up
play?
here a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm gonna back it up here. I just want to give you kind of what we're looking for at edge. So at edge, it depends on the scheme we're running here. So you're looking for speed to power, and what I mean right here. See him get off the ball. You know what I mean? His speed to power right there was really good. Affected the quarterback. He's got some pass coverage stuff in here, which is good. With some physicality at the end there.
I
So you
like
can see
that.
he's a decent runner. You need a good athlete here. Playing the edge, depending on the scheme they're asking him for. And I'm going to talk a little bit about his position flex at the end. But when you get a kid like this at this size, he's really got to be quick twitch. You know what I mean? He shows some good technique there, getting off a block, shedding a block. So that's kind of the things you're looking for. You're really looking for get off, pass rush, things like that, and a true edge player here.
So what are some of the things, like if we go back to that first play, can you break down that play and walk us through, what he did well, what you're looking for, stuff like that?
Well, the first play was an interception, which I like. So he put a turnover there. He was kind of rushing the passer. What he had here is good instincts, right? So as I pause it here, he had good instincts because obviously he's in a pass rush situation. But as soon as he sees the quarterback set his feet and the ball's in the barrel now, he's getting ready to fire it out. He just doesn't keep rushing. Like he's
Right.
got his head up and he's got enough instincts to stop his pass rush. And he gets his hand up and intercepts the ball. That shows high football IQ right there, right out of the gate. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a lot of physical there because it was right into his pass rush. This second play here, like what I was talking about, obviously he's unblocked, so the protection ain't great, but you just want to see his get off. You know what I mean? What's his reaction time getting off the ball when he's rushing the passer? Is he going to run in here and grab the guy and kind of spin the quarterback down? He doesn't do that. He puts his shoulder pads under his shoulder pads, makes a really good shot on the quarterback, and shows some physicality. Here on this play in pass coverage, you can see he's dropping out in his zone, makes a really good open field tackle. I love that he plays with passion. So it's really defeating blocks and his pass rush ability because he plays edge, for his team. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of pass rush, but you also need to see as the tape goes along here, when you get into the running game and things like that, like they're running right at him here, ability to defeat blocks, set the edge. You don't have to do that quite as much in high school. What I mean by set the edge is, create another line of scrimmage 1 or 2 yards deep, but don't just run up the field, you know what I mean, and keep everything inside. Kind of how he just did right there, you know what I mean? Now, I want more physicality on this play right here, right? That guy, you can tell that's blocking him doesn't want a whole lot of that. I would rather see him just knocking back, right? Knocking back another line of scrimmage and just sit there. He let that guy run him out of his gap a little bit. And that shouldn't happen for a guy with his power and his size, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that might be a play he would just take off.
Yeah, we had this one up there and 2 other ones that we told him, kind of why we didn't like him as much. You know what I mean? It's not a terrible play where I think it hurts him, that we said you absolutely need to take it out. But it is one where, it comes up where he should just physically dominate that guy and just, totally reset the line of scrimmage, If anything, he needs to move it back, you know what I mean, if he's going to keep it, So plays like that, we gave him examples of. He does a really nice job, I think, like I said, getting his hands up, getting his hands on balls, which is big, in the pass rush. See, again, right here, same thing as I go back, all right? When we talk about block destruction, a lot up here, right? When this guy's coming at him right here, he needs to get a good base, get under his hips, and he just needs to knock that guy back. See how he's kind of catching him? That guy's really, that guy's winning this rep. Does he make the tackle? Yeah. And some guys come along, we get the ball out there, good play for his team. We're talking about him getting recruited though. You know what I mean? Getting a football scholarship. He needs to buck that guy and really strike him. That needs to be at a minimum a stalemate. okay, at a minimum. So that guy shouldn't even be able to fit up in there. His size and his power, that should have been a big collision there.
Yeah.
Coming off the edge, and
That's
that's
that
what we're
violence,
looking for.
right? The violence.
Correct. Yeah, that should have been a very violent play, and he has some opportunities to do that in here. And now we had, as we let it play here, we had him. We talked about some plays with him where he's kind of second or third to the party type thing. Gang tackles. You know what I mean? That's really not what we're looking for. We want plays that are made by him. That was a nice play there. Punt block. That I like it being in there. We kind of told him where we would order that up at. Same thing with this play here. Right? We don't need this play.
So for this player,
I mean?
did you say you moved quite a few plays around?
Yeah,
The big
and
thing
took
is
some
like
out.
we want to make sure like if we're sending our game tape to a college coach that those first 3 plays have to be the best 3 plays for college coaches to see, right? There's a big difference
Correct.
between your best 3 plays and your best 3 plays that are going to get a college recruiter, or a college coach to continue watching the tape. There's a big difference, right? And so you ended up having to move quite a few plays around. Could you just give us an example of one play that you needed to move up to the front?
Yeah. So one of them,
I
one
know
of them
you
he
removed a
had.
lot of plays, but go ahead.
Yeah, one of them he had up in the beginning, but this one, was kind of like it, a little bit in, like 30 seconds in or whatever. But this is one of the plays here, that he showed physicality at the point of attack. And he had some. This was a good one, right here that he needs to leave up there, right? You know what I mean? So he was on the right track. So it was more so in his instance, he had some really good plays in the front. It was more so shuffling and trimming the fat more so than it was moving some that he had he didn't have any like buried like way down in the tape down here. You know what I mean? Where he needed to move up to the front necessarily as much as he had trimming the fat.
But
He did a nice job getting his better ones in the front.
Good. Okay. So the question that everyone always asks, right? Like, what
Yeah.
divisions right now should he be targeting? Here's the bottom line, guys. You can follow everything I teach here on YouTube, my podcast. You listen to all these head coaches and stuff we interview. You can do everything, but if you're not targeting the right schools, none of that matters. And that's why we do these evaluations so that the kids know who should I be targeting, right? A lot of kids don't even do outreach just because they don't know who to reach out to. So this is the first very most important step. So Brian, what divisions based on his game film, coming from someone with 15 years, right, of Division I recruiting experience, what divisions right now should he be targeting? What divisions would he have the best chance of really getting interest and potential offers at this point?
Yeah. As of 2027, I've got him heavily targeting NAIA Division II. Okay, and the reason for that is he's got really good size. We talked about it. 6'1", 215 pounds, whatever. It's just that the violence and the consistent physicality, the block destruction that it takes to play FCS, even Division I, and to get into that world, you have to consistently show that on tape. Right, but I do think with his size and some good things, he does a lot of good things. Like he plays hard, he's got high football IQ. You can tell that on the tape. As of 2027, I think if the outreach is being done correctly and he is marketing himself and getting the tape out there, I think for sure he should have a ton of action in like the NAIA Division II level right now, like at this moment, based on even this tape. Now, if he cleans up some stuff, and we talked about a bunch of this stuff obviously on the evaluation we sent him, and really decides to start to play with a lot of violence, a lot of power, being disruptive on the edge and things like that, we could be talking about like a whole different evaluation this time next year because of his size and what I think he's going to look like next year. But if we're talking about right now, we think he can have a lot of success if everything's done correctly, D2 NAIA type situation. And I'll just throw in there, I think he's an in-the-box linebacker. So if you're talking about from a college football recruiter and evaluator's point of view, like his movement skills and some of the way he moves, he can be a good blitzer from in there. Like I think he'd have to be in the perfect fit scheme-wise to be, a edge. Like I think if he's playing in the box, you know what I mean, and he's got a little more room to see what's happening in front of him, and things like that, and dissect it a little longer, not being right up on the line of scrimmage, I think he would thrive in the box. Personally, at his size, he can really run because you can see it on the on the pass rush, and use him more as a blitzer from in there. So he does give you some position flex and some marketability based on he can play edge. I think in the right system. but I think he is going to be evaluated as a in the box type linebacker.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And I also want to share for like the parents and players watching this right now. A lot of people were like, "Oh, well, if I get an evaluation like this and I know I could be higher later, let me just wait to do outreach." And the answer is you're crazy, right? You you want to, even though, yeah, so he should be, he's going to work on some things, and that's why you get an evaluation.
Leverage.
So you know what you need to work on, right, to get to the next level. Now this player knows, so he can show it on film. Really important. But big thing is, like Brian said, leverage, guys. Like, if you're a 27, a 28, and you're not already doing outreach, you're behind, right? Like the 26s they all have offers already. It's because they're not waiting for perfect game film. They're not waiting, right? So get some offers under your belt at the Division II level. I know you want to go Division I. I get it, but you can't say I want to go Division I and not yet be grading at Division I and have no offers, and then do no outreach, and you're not doing out. The reason they're not doing outreach is because of fear of failure, rejection, what people think about them. It's like, listen, dude, you want get momentum, get some offers under your belt, target the right programs right now, based on where your level is. Work on those things we talked about on the field as a product, and then next year, now when you're reaching out to Division I, let's say you grade at the G5 level, or even the FCS level. Now it's like, dude, I got 6 offers under my belt. I got 3. I have momentum. Whereas otherwise, it's like you've got nothing, right? So get some momentum, guys. And the reason I say this is because you don't want to be stuck on as a 26 with one offer, because your coach knows one coach. Like, you don't want it, right? You want options. You want opportunity. Like, so anyways, like Brian, I just wanted to emphasize that don't wait until you have perfect film. 28s, 27s, 20, like you guys should all be doing outreach right now, getting momentum, building relationships with coaches, because a lot of these D2 coaches will be FCS, will be G5 coaches, and they'll take you with them, right? Even before you graduate. They might move up and they know you and they really like you and you've progressed and now you're at the G5 level and now they want to offer you at Boise State instead of a Division II program. Right. So it's really critical, guys. The more relationships you have with college coaches at the right levels, the more opportunities that you're going to have. Right. So, Brian, is there anything else outside of what you talked about this player needs to work on outside of, the violence and stuff like that?
No, that stuff needs to show up on film, because I do think he's got some power. Because like I said, some of the plays that we like the early one where he dropped in his own coverage, he had a really physical tackle out there. You can tell even when he's, when he engages in a block sometimes, you know what I mean? He's just not getting overtaken. He's just not doing what you need to do at that level for it to pop on tape, which is really strike the guy in a football position, knock him back. I'm not saying knock him on his back. I'm just saying you should be able to see him strike him and hold his ground, and then do, read the play out and things like that. That I think it's in there. That's just gotta show up on tape consistently over and over and over again, so they know that's exactly who you are all the time and not just some of the time. And, because I think with his size, it looks like he's going to get bigger, faster, and stronger. He's already got good speed to power off the edge. Like I said, he's got some quick twitch movements. I think if he keeps working those things and those other things show up on tape, like I said, I'd be shocked if we didn't have a different evaluation this time next year.
I love it. Brian, appreciate you being here. If you got value from this video and you'd like to watch more videos just like it, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. And if you'd like to see if your son meets the criteria for us to do a professional evaluation, I'll leave a link in the description below. If not, I look forward to seeing you on the next one.